Hello everybody, this is Pastor Green. We're doing another Bible study, Exodus chapter 15. If you'd like me to come speak at your church, or if you have any questions, email me at godsohman@gmail.com. Also, you can comment below and make sure you subscribe to my channel, that way you get more updates whenever I post a new video. Exodus 15 verse 1. Then sang Moses and the children of Israel the song up unto the Lord, and spoke, saying, I will sing unto the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea. And I found it interesting that Moses' song was also repeated in Revelations. If you go to Revelations 15 verse 2 and 3, it says, And I saw that as it was a sea of glass mingled with fire. And then they had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of God. And they sang the song of Moses, the servant of God, and the songs of the Lamb, saying, Great and marvellous are thy works, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. So that when in the marriage supper of the Lamb in heaven, we're going to be singing the songs of Moses. We're going to be standing on seas of glass, and we're going to be singing the song. And it basically talks about standing on a sea of glass. And it's really interesting, the picture of a sea of glass. In the Bible, it talks about three firmaments. And the first firmament talks about the Earth's atmosphere. It says that's where the birds fly. And then it mentions the second firmament, or the second heaven, which is where the stars and the planets are. And then one time, I think it's in Corinthians, it talks about a third heaven, and that's where God's throne is. And there's going to be waters above the firmament. I believe it's going to be a sheet of ice, and it's very possible that's what we're going to be standing on. Exodus 15 verse 2. The Lord is my strength and song, and he has become my salvation. He is God. He is my God, and I will prepare him a habitation, my Father God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his host has he cast into the sea. His chosen captains are also drowned in the Red Sea. The depths have covered them. They sank to the bottom as a stone. And obviously, if they're wearing armor, they're going to sink pretty quickly. Thy right hand, O Lord, has become glorious in power. Thy right hand, O Lord, has dashed into pieces the enemy. And in the greatness of thine excellency, thou hast overthrown them and rose against thee. Thou sendest forth thy wrath, which consumed them as stubble. And with the blast of thy nostrils the waters were gathered together. The flood stood upright as a heap, and the depths were congealed in the heart of the sea. So on both sides of the people walking, there's going to be this wall of water. And it's interesting, the Bible says that it was congealed. But the word congealed means it's hard ground. It's almost implied that it was kind of like crackling as they were walking across it, because it was so dry. It was like crackling. And they just had water there, and now the water's gone, and it's so dry that they can walk across it, and it's crackling. The enemy said, I will pursue, and I will overtake, and I will divide the spoil. My lust shall be satisfied upon them. I will draw my sword, and my hand shall destroy them. So the Pharaoh and his army thought, we're going to easily destroy these Israelites. And of course, God stepped in. Thou didst blow with thy wind, the sea covered them, and they sank as lead to the mighty waters. Who is like unto thee, O Lord, among the gods? Who is like thee, glorious in holiness, fearful in praise, doing wonders? Thou stretchedst out thy right hand, and the earth swallowed them. These Israelites are praising God, saying, look at what you've done. You've taken our enemy, and you've defeated them for us. How great are you? How amazing are you, God? Thou mercy hast led forth a people which thou hast redeemed. Thou hast guided them by thy strength into thy holy habitation. The people shall hear and be afraid. Sorrow shall take hold of their inhabitants of the Palestina. Now, that's what they basically are headed to. They're headed to the area of the Philistines. And so they're thinking, wow, look at all this stuff that God did here against the Egyptians. When we get to Philistine, when we see the Philistines, they're going to hear about this, and they're going to be afraid. Nobody's going to mess with us because of what God did for us. Then the dukes of Edom shall be amazed. The mighty men of Moab, trembling, shall take hold upon them. All the inhabitants of Canaan shall melt away. And you have the Edomites and the Moabites who are also going to be afraid. They're thinking all of our these people that we're going to come across are going to be afraid of us, and they're going to leave us alone. Fear and dread shall fall upon them by the greatness of thine arm. They shall be still as a stone till thy people pass over. O Lord, till the people pass over which thou hast purchased. So they're saying these people are going to be so scared about us. They're just going to stand like a stone. They're not going to converse with us. They're not going to talk to us. They're not going to engage us. They're just going to ignore us and just be so terribly afraid of us. They're going to be like a stone. Thou shalt bring them in and plant them in the mountain of thine inheritance, in the place, O Lord, which thou hast made for thee to dwell in, on the sanctuary, O Lord, which thy hands have established. The Lord shall reign forever and ever. For the horse of Pharaoh went in with his chariots and with his horsemen into the sea, and the Lord brought against the waters of the sea upon them. But the children of Israel went on dry land in the midst of the sea. This is saying that Pharaoh and his horse also died with the rest of the Egyptians. So they have nothing to fear now because Pharaoh and his whole army has been destroyed. And Miriam the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with timbrels and with dances. So Miriam, who's the sister of both Aaron and Moses, she goes out there and starts dancing. Now you have to understand that Miriam around this time was probably 85, 86 years old, and she's out there just dancing. And Miriam answered them, Sing ye to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider has he thrown into the sea. So Moses brought Israel out of the Red Sea, and they went out to the wilderness of Shur, and they went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. So they started up here on the top, and now they're right down here in the bottom, called the wilderness of Shur. And they were there for 3 days, and they walked around, and they headed to Marah. And it took them 3 days' journey, and during this time they found no water. It's a pretty big emergency because after 3 days of no water in the desert, you're going to start having problems. This is then they came to Marah, and they could not drink of the waters of Marah, for it was bitter. Therefore the name of it was called Marah. Now if you remember the word Marah and the word bitter, it's also in the book of Ruth. If you go to Ruth 1 verse 30, or Ruth 1 verse 20, it says that she said unto them, Call me not Naomi, call me Marah, for the Almighty has dwelt very bitterly with me. Back to Exodus 15:24. And the people murmured against Moses, saying, What shall we drink? Now just remember, this whole entire chapter up to this point, they were praising God and saying how great God is. He slayed our enemies for us. He got us away from Pharaoh. How great is he? And it took them 3 whole days. And now they're complaining. They went to Moses and said, All right, Moses, what are we going to drink? And he cried out to the Lord. The Lord showed him a tree, which when he had cast it into the waters were made sweet. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and he proved them. You know, I love this verse here because it says they found a tree, and they threw it in the water became sweet. You know, sometimes when things don't make any sense and you don't understand them, it's nice to be reminded of the cross. It's possible that God is testing you. You got to remember that salvation is waiting for you. So no matter what's going on in your life, good, bad, or indifferent, you know that in the future you're going to be in heaven. And it kind of makes things a little bit easier for you. And it's kind of a reminder of, even if I don't understand what's going on, I have the cross. Even though I don't understand what's going on, Christ loves me. Even though I don't understand what's going on, one day I'll be in heaven and have salvation. Back to Exodus 15:26. This says, and said, If thou wilt diligently hearken the voice of the Lord your God, and will do what is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all of his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I brought upon the Egyptians, for I am the Lord that healeth thee. So God's saying that if you do these 4 things, you're not going to have any kind of problems. Diligently hearken the voice of the Lord thy God. Do what is right in the sight. Give ear to his commandments and keep his statutes. If you do these 4 things, I'll make sure that you don't have any diseases. The problem is we don't usually listen. And they came to Edom, where 12 wells of water, and 70 palm trees, and they camped there by the waters. So they finally got to Edom, and they have these 12 wells of water and all these trees, which gives them shade. And you can see over here is Edom, right there in the wilderness of Shur. Well, guys, that's the video. I appreciate you guys watching. If you'd like me to come speak at your church, you have any questions, you can email me, you can comment. Also, make sure you like, share, subscribe, let a friend know about this. I try to give as much information as I can to teach people. I'm going to put on the bottom right hand side the Exodus Bible study. On the top left is probably going to be Genesis, and then the bottom left is going to be a video. Anyways, guys, I appreciate you watching. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.